Hello everyone and welcome to Grammatically Incorrect News. This week, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero's length is pretty short, the latest trailers, news tidbits, and the latest releases for this week. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, the prologue game which comes out next March before the full-fledged game The Phantom Pain, has been confirmed that the main story can be finished in under 2 hours. Game Informer discovered the length of the game after receiving a near-final build of the game for their March cover story. People on the internet have been complaining since the game will be around $20 to $40 in the US or around £20 to £30 in the UK depending on which console generation you'll purchase this game on. The series creator Hideo Kojima issued a statement after people got upset about this fact, saying, "Metal Gear Solid 5's Ground Zero includes the main mission alongside 5 side-op missions. All missions include elements such as trail records where players can compete against each other online. This is a non-linear game like in the past, which we hope players will enjoy over and over without being boring." The idea behind the prologue chapter of Metal Gear Solid was to tide people over while they waited for the follow-up game later this year. The creators didn't need to do this, and I think people may be overreacting again. Compare this game to Gone Home, the indie title that won multiple awards last year and can be completed in 2 hours or less, and the cost for this game was $20 or £15 depending on your region. Until this game is released, I think people should calm down and wait till the full reviews come out before they have a massive panic attack about the game's length. This week has been a bit quiet on the bigger news stories, but here's a quick rundown of the smaller news items this week. The Call of Duty series will now have a 3-year cycle now instead of 2. Activision's confirmed that joining developers Infinity Ward and Treyarch is Sledgehammer Games, who helped co-develop Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This will allow each of the 3 developers 3 years to develop a new game and DLC instead of being a 2-year period of development. The Call of Duty series has been stagnating of late, without much innovation to the genre since the original Modern Warfare. The creators behind Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag announced that the recently released DLC for the game called Freedom's Cry will be made available as a standalone DLC on PC and PlayStation on the 18th of February. In the DLC you play as Adderwall, a former slave turned pirate turned assassin who gets shipwrecked on Haiti. This could be a big step if more developers get behind this type of scheme in the future. An example of this is The Last of Us, which will get its first piece of story DLC 7 months after its release last year. This would give another opportunities to developers to actually sell this DLC, especially with the amount of people trading in games these days. Titanfall, which is going to be released on the Xbox 360, has had a slight delay to its release date on that platform. It was meant to be released on the 14th of March alongside the PC and Xbox One version of the game. It will now be released 2 weeks later on the 25th of March to ensure the game will be a better experience for Xbox 360 users. The minimum PC specs for the game were also released. The game will require Windows 7 64 bits or Windows 8, 4GB of RAM, an Intel Core 2 Duo 2.4 GHz or an AMD Athlon 2 8GHz, and finally a Radeon HD 4770 or GeForce 8800 GT. Sega this week announced a new Sonic the Hedgehog game. The game is called Sonic Boom and will be coming to the 3DS and the Wii U later this year. This reboot will coincide with the cartoon series that's in development at the moment. The new art style is kind of different for these iconic characters and has received much mockery from the gaming community on the internet. The game will support 2-player co-op locally, with each of the characters having their own strengths and weaknesses and environmental puzzles that each of the characters can bypass. It seems to include a Ratchet and Clank weapon system as well. Sega did come out and say there is another game in development by the Sonic team as well. Ready at Dawn, the developers behind the PS4 exclusive title The Order 1886, announced a couple of details about the upcoming steampunk game based within alternative London. The game is a third-person action-adventure game and will contain no multiplayer mode. It was also confirmed it will only run at 30 frames per second, since the developers said this is the best way the game will run. It's kind of disappointing to hear that it won't be running at 60 frames per second, but if the developers think this is best for the game, I shouldn't complain, especially since I've not even got to play it yet. Here are your latest game releases for the week. First off, Fable Anniversary, a remake of the original Xbox game, has been HD'd for the Xbox 360. It'll be a great opportunity to see how this series began if you missed it first time round, or if you want to relive Fable, this is a great way to go about it. Also, Jazzpunk got released on the PC this week. This game is a comedy adventure game with a great tongue-in-cheek humour. If you like the films Aeroplane or Monty Python style of humour, then this game will have you in stitches on the floor. On the 3DS this week saw the release of Bravely Default Flying Fairy, a JRPG from Square Enix. The game is a new franchise for the company, but might as well be a carbon copy of a classic Final Fantasy game with joust systems and the iconic fantasy setting as well. PlayStation Plus users in America found out what free games they will be getting this February. On the PlayStation 3, you can look forward to Remember Me, Payday 2, and Metro Last Light. On the PlayStation Vita, you will receive Street Fighter X Tekken and Mod Nation Racer Road Trip. Finally, on the PlayStation 4, you will receive the survival horror game Outlast. That's about all the news for this week. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.